The voice of the fan. Drop a bounce pass, throw down the rim rocker. Lay up off the glass right past the shot blocker. I follow through like Kobe's money. You can cash it. For news on LA hoops, come over to Beach Basket. Up to date sports, post game reports, debates and play by play coming straight off the court. The voice of the fan making noise, causing havoc. Zone a man up, you can ask Beach Basket. The Beach Basket. Coming soon on air, the Beach Basket, where the news begins. We're dropping news like we're in the stands. Creative views from the Astros fans. The Beach Basket.
All right, we're back. It's been a while. We had a week off. And part of that reason that we took some time off was because we wanted to make the best possible show we could for you. We're so grateful that you take time out to listen, and we just want to make it good. I mean, that's the whole purpose of this. And so we took some time to do that. And we're back hoping that things are a little more entertaining, a little more interesting, a little shorter, a little more concise. We are Peach Basket. We're a site dedicated to professional basketball. In shows previous to this one, you would see me along with a co-host, and we would talk basketball. And I love that. There's nothing wrong with it. It just wasn't exactly what I wanted. We have got a group of really talented lead writers covering 17 of the 30 NBA teams right now throughout the United States. And it just made sense to give them a voice, to give them an opportunity, as opposed to just one other person. So that's what we're going to do tonight. I'm real excited to do this. What we're going to do in NBA Week in Review. This is Run It Back NBA Week in Review. Should have started with that. I'm not a great marketer. I'm good at doing what I do. I'm figuring the rest of this stuff out as I go. What we're going to do is we're going to run it back. We're going to take a look at the week in review, and we're going to call out some lead writers from some of the teams that we cover, specifically the Sacramento Kings, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Florida teams, the Heat and the Magic. So we've got lead writers from each of those areas covering each of those teams, and they're going to tell us what happened for their team this week. Kind of cool. That's exactly how I wanted this to be, and let's see how it plays out. First thing we're going to do, because we're super, super high tech, if you look, we've got right there, we got the United States. We're going to drop a pin, hopefully. Things never work out the way you want them to, do they? The pin isn't dropping. All right. Well, if it doesn't work, I'll figure it out a little bit later. But if you could imagine a pin dropping right in the center of Sacramento downtown, not anywhere near San Luis Obispo, but right in the middle of downtown Sacramento, that was the intent. Let's bring in Ryan. He's the lead writer covering the Sacramento Kings, and he's going to talk to us about let's see. We want to keep that going. There we go. He's going to talk to us about the Sacramento Kings. Give us the Kings. Brian, how are you? We're going to give us the Kings recap.
Good, is it better no pin than the wrong pin? Or
I think it's better no pin than the wrong pin. And I'll tell you honestly that I got the same. I got the same grief with Florida. I messed that up too. We're going to Florida next, but you're up now. I'm going to see if I can go on mute and kind of tinker with this, see if I can get that pin working. But tell us about the Kings. They had, they've had an up and down season. It's been an up and down week. Give us the Kings recap.
Yeah, it has been an up and down season. Well, they went into the All-Star break having lost a very large amount of games in their last 10 or 15. At one point, they'd lost 9 in a row, and a good chunk of that was a 6-game road trip or 6 or 7-game road trip. And then headed into the All-Star break, they managed to pull away 2 out of 4. So they're starting to correct some of their mistakes. And then they had the All-Star break, and then they came into this week and went home to face the Rockets, a team that also is not very good at the moment. So it was kind of anybody's game at that point. Oh, hey, there's the pin. It was kind of anybody's game at that point. And the Kings seemed to come out with a lot of energy. They were scrapping for the ball. One of my biggest beefs with De'Aaron Fox, who's pretty much the star of that team now and who I've gained a lot of respect for over the last couple weeks, started playing like I think he should be playing. Not that I know any better than he does, but one of his main problems before was that I thought he was way too over aggressive with the ball. I thought he would take it down into the paint with way too much time on the shot clock. And coming into the game in Houston, or not in Houston, but with Houston, he, was moving the ball around. He was dishing it out. He was taking it down the lane when it needed to be taken down the lane. So in the Houston game, they won. They kicked ass. They took names. They were able to come away with a 20-point win, which astounded me. No, they played good, and they got a lot of I think the key to the Houston game is that they got a lot of scoring across the table. So all 5 starters ended up in double figures. 4 of them ended up with 20 or better points. De'Aaron Fox himself ended up with 30 points. So they pulled that one out. And so going into tonight's game against the Hawks, I'm like, man, I think they got it figured out. Hopefully they can keep that ball rolling. And they did for about a quarter.
Right.
And then after that, they fell apart. They fell back into their old habits, which included both being over aggressive with taking really ill-advised shots, making really bad passes, turning the ball over a lot.
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
You're good. So 1 win, 1 loss, 5 really good quarters, and then 3 kind of bad ones.
3 pretty bad ones. The second quarter, they ended up with 38-19 point differential. So,
wow.
Yeah, they went from being up by 11 at the end of the first quarter tonight to being down by 10 at halftime.
Right.
And that was almost entirely based on 2 things. I mean, it was turnovers and it was just bad shots. And the problem, and this is the problem that I had with De'Aaron Fox before, was that I thought that he was not dishing the ball out enough. Turns out that's not the problem anymore. He's actually leading. He's not leading, but he's like 5th in the NBA since February 1st in assists.
Yeah.
So the problem is not that he's not dishing the ball out enough. It's that everybody else can't seem to make shots with any kind of consistency.
All right. So when I first met you, you were down on De'Aaron.
Yeah.
Are you a believer now?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Okay.
I wouldn't trade him away, not for anything anymore. But
that's progress.
Yeah, it is progress.
That's progress.
But I would like to see some things happen. Like, I'd like to see Halliburton elevated to the starting lineup, even though he didn't play all that well tonight. I still think he's, a good fit for that team. And eventually it's going to be an interesting 1-2 punch, having Fox and Halliburton on the court at the same time.
Yeah.
He's pretty young, Halliburton. In fact, they're all pretty young. Most of the Kings roster is under 25.
Yeah.
And I have to remember that sometimes when I'm overly criticizing them. Like, they're all really young basketball players.
Right.
And, we're coming up on the trade deadline. And I think the most buzz I've heard the whole time is that Harrison Barnes is kind of at the top of that list on the trade block. And I'm like, why? He's the only veteran there. And he's been on a championship team. So why do you get rid of a player like that?
You and I have had this conversation, on Slack or on our private channels, and just we've talked a lot about this. And I always make the point that I think they've got a great foundation, the Kings. Now it's important to see what they're going to do with it, right? Mm-hmm. Are they going to mess it up, or are they going to build something special? So I got to get to Florida because I got Isaac ready to talk about the Heat and the Magic. But good week for the Kings. I mean,
I'll take 1-1, dude.
Yeah, I guess if we count today, 1-1, I was going to give them undefeated, but not bad. We'll see where things go moving forward. Is this a playoff team? I'm going to let you go after that. Do you think?
No.
Yeah,
At this point, no.
That's the correct answer. Ryan, thank you. I appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and see if the pin works now. That pin goes away. We're going to drop the pin more or less in the area of Miami. I don't think I'm even close. Let's go ahead and bring in Isaac. And boom. Isaac from Florida. I know it's late for you. Thanks for staying up. I got to mention that Isaac is with our partner site, FL Teams. They're a great site dedicated to all sports, Florida, baseball, hockey, basketball, football. They know it. We're really happy to have Isaac here talking Heat Magic with us. You got 3 to 5 minutes to give us the Heat Magic update, Isaac. Oh, and how close was I? I know you already told me, but how close was I there to Miami? That was the goal.
A little south, but that's fine.
All right, yeah. Next time. All right, man. Floor is yours. Well, how was the week for the Florida teams?
Well, half and half. The Miami Heat played well, and the Orlando Magic didn't. But we'll start with the Miami Heat. They are now 20-18, fourth in the East. A few weeks ago, many people, including Paul Pierce, veteran, no longer in the NBA. He's retired, but veteran analyst on ESPN. He said the Miami Heat wouldn't make the playoffs, but now they're fourth in the East.
Wow.
Since coming back from the All-Star break, there's been 2 games, and the Heat have won 2 out of the 2 of them. Starting with Thursday night game against the Magic. The Heat won 111-103. Jimmy Butler played well, 27 points, 11 assists, and 8 rebounds. So 2 rebounds away from a triple-double. And then last night's game, which was Friday night, the Miami Heat beat the Bulls 101-90. Jimmy Butler, another fantastic performance, 28 points and 8 rebounds. And Goran Dragic, the veteran potential Hall of Famer, played well. He finished the game with 25 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. First of all, the 7 rebounds stand out to me. Dragic is never a rebound guy. I guess he was last night. But even more importantly, Dragic had 20 points in the fourth quarter, which was huge, ultimately leading to the Miami Heat's win. Yeah. So again, the Miami Heat really looking well now. They've turned things around. They've won 9 out of their last 10 games. Really amazing. Now on to the Magic. Like I said, they lost to the Miami Heat on Thursday night, 111-103. But despite all of their losses this season, sitting at 13-24, Nikola Vucevic, who made his second All-Star appearance a few days ago, is playing amazing. On Thursday night, he had 24 points and 17 rebounds, a double-double. And then last night against the Spurs, they lost big time, 104-77. Nikola Vucevic didn't play as good as he did the previous game, but still good, 26 points. But the Magic have really struggled this year. They have a lot of injuries. Aaron Gordon, Markelle Fultz, Cole Anthony, and many others. So, the Magic are, rebuilding, I would say. They have a young roster. They're probably going to get a top pick in this upcoming NBA draft. But, the Magic have had a lot of failure recently, and it's mainly due to their injuries because, they are a potential 8th seed team with a healthy roster, potentially even a 7th seed. But in all, the 2 Florida teams, the Heat and Magic, they played each other 2 days ago, and they're going to play each other tomorrow night on Sunday night. So we'll look forward to that. But the Heat looking really well, 2 games over 500. And, I know they've been doubted a lot this season, but no one's going to doubt them anymore. Eric Spoelstra has turned them around. And, 4th in the East, something to brag about.
Rapid fire, 2 questions for you. Question number 1, and you can answer them both after I ask you both, and just rapid fire, quick question or a quick answer rather. Number 1 question: are the Miami Heat going to get back to the Eastern Conference Final this season? And question number 2 is Vucevic ending the season with the Orlando Magic. Go.
The first question, yes, the Heat are going to make it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And you said the East Finals, not the NBA.
Yeah,
Finals.
Eastern
So,
Conference Finals. Yeah.
I'm definitely saying yes to the East Finals. And then for Nikola Vucevic finishing the season with the Magic, I say yes. I know there's a lot of trade rumors, but to quickly state the point, the Magic are a playoff team with a fully healthy roster, including Nikola Vucevic.
Right. Yeah, interesting. I think most people would say no to Miami making the Eastern Conference Final, and Vucevic is absolutely gone. But you make great points, and everything I've heard about the trades that are being offered, this is a good player, and it's not going to be easy to get him. You're going to have to give up a lot to get a lot. So outstanding. I appreciate the recap, Isaac. Thank you. Next time I'll make sure to get that pin closer to Miami. We're now going to go to the center of the country and get an update on the team that the Heat just beat, right? The San Antonio Spurs. We're going to talk to Renee. All right, Isaac, thank you. I didn't have to remove you. He removed himself. You don't have to show me how to do that. We're still figuring things out here. Renee, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. Renee, good evening. And forgive me, I should actually know this, but you are in San Antonio. Am I right?
No, I'm a little bit south of San Antonio.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm not
so
in the city.
But the pin, I got pretty darn close to San Antonio. Yeah?
Yeah, that's endangering the Alamo where you put it. That's
all right. I'll take it.
Pretty much
that's
there.
That's the heart of San Antonio.
Yeah.
So I'm 1 for 3.
That's
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely want to talk about the Spurs week. That's what we're doing here. We want to run it back and see how the state of the Spurs. But I know that you wanted to share some Spurs news as well regarding one of their great power forwards. So I'll leave it to you. Give us the Spurs update.
All right. Well, we'll start out with that. I mean, I think the biggest story this week was LaMarcus Aldridge and the organization coming to an agreement to separate, basically, a mutual agreement. I don't know where LaMarcus could end up. This is the last year of his contract. He's making $24 million, and I'm not sure what team would want to pick that up. I'm thinking buyout, but his skill set is. I just submitted a piece reflecting on him. His skill set seems a little dated. I mean, I guess what you'd call a stretch 4. But, the mid-range game, he's got such a nice touch, such a nice shot. But he's basically nailed to the floor a lot of the times. I don't know who he could help. I contemplated that in the piece a little while ago, but I'm not sure. When I think about his career, I have nothing negative to say about him, but it's hard to give him a glowing review because circumstances just didn't break his way or the Spurs way. We know what happened when he joined. They were, I think, a year after they beat the Heat in the finals. The idea was that he and Kawhi Leonard would form the core of a new generation. That didn't work out. I wish him the best. I mean, I think he was a pro. He was serviceable, and I don't know where he could end up. I saw some trade, some scenarios, and one of them said to the Heat actually for Kelly Olynyk, and I think Myers Leonard, but I don't know. I don't see how that would even work, but.
Well, a little later, we're going to bring everybody back, and I'm curious to hear Isaac's thoughts on that. That'll be interesting. I've got some thoughts, but go ahead, Renee.
Yeah, I'd like to hear everybody's input on that because I'm just at a loss for it. He's out, he's gone. What can you say? The week was pretty interesting. Wednesday, first game back from the All-Star game, the Spurs went up to Dallas and lost 115-104. It was really disappointing for me as a fan. I don't know. I took it hard. I don't know why. I took it personal almost. They looked lethargic. And maybe it was the All-Star break. I don't know what it was. Poor effort on defense. The coach called 2 timeouts very early in the game, and he was furious. They were getting beaten on the boards. Kristaps Porzingis was looked very impressive. I've always liked watching him, and I was glad to see him play well. For us, though, the best player, he's been the team MVP, is DeMar DeRozan. He had 30 points and 11 assists. He's scoring, and he's a facilitator as well. He's become the closer, and he is, again, another professional. He's worked out whatever it was that he was going through when he came over. He didn't want to join the Spurs, or he didn't want to be traded from the Raptors. More specific. So then he's worked through it, and right now I think he's the team MVP, heart and soul of the team. It'll be interesting to see what they do with him going forward. Last night, as Isaac said, Spurs and Orlando matched up in San Antonio. It was the first game that the Spurs have had fans in attendance for almost over a year now. So it was very pleasant and very nice vibe. DeRozan was absent. He had to go back to Los Angeles. I think he had a funeral service for his father who passed away last month. It was a team victory. They started out slow. Just as Isaac said, the Magic had 7 players missing. I think they had 9 players on hand. So I figured, okay, this is going to be an easy game. Spurs struggled, then tightened up. They held the Magic to 10 points, I think, in the second quarter, which kind of shifted the game the Spurs' way. It was a team win. Rudy Gay, 19 points off the bench. DeJounte Murray and Derek White had 17 each. Derek White is a very underrated player, by the way. And that's basically what I have for the Spurs this week.
The Spurs have a habit of finding those underrated great players, right? Going all the way back to Manu. It's amazing how they do that.
Yeah. I know that the young players, DeJounte Murray and I believe Lonnie Walker, expressed that they know when they come in, they have to work. And they're putting in that work. And it's, it goes back to the article I wrote earlier this week about Greg Popovich. He set the culture there, and the players buy into it. I mean, I don't know how Patty Mills has lasted this long in the NBA. I mean, right. It's, and he's great. I love him, but it's, I don't know how he's still there.
No, I got you. It's going to be interesting. The one constant in San Antonio has always been Pop, and you wrote a great article about that not too long ago. Let's bring in everybody else. Welcome back, Isaac. Welcome back, Ryan. We're going to go ahead and remove the map here for a minute.
Hello again.
Hey again. This is the show. This is what I want. This is what I really enjoy. We've got a group of almost 30 writers. Isaac has got 30 writers. I know we've got a team, together. And then when we add our other partner statement games, and we probably got 100 people we could pull into this. And we are fans first and foremost. We know the game. We watch the game. We're passionate about our teams. And that's exactly what I want this to be. Just a time for us to share and to talk hoop. So today it was San Antonio, it was Sacramento, it was the Miami, Orlando teams. Hopefully next week we'll get other people involved. I know that Ajay, who covers the Lakers for us, hopefully he's watching, was a little cautious, didn't want to be the guinea pig, and I get that. So now that we've done it, hopefully Ajay jumps on next week and talks Lakers ball with us. One thing I wanted to mention before we take off, Isaac, you heard it. Renee is hearing about a potential trade between your two teams. Do you give up Olynyk and Miles Leonard for LaMarcus Aldridge? I mean, that sounds like a no-brainer to me. What do you think?
Yeah, so I am writing a piece on this currently. I'll give a little.
Oh, no way. Okay.
I have 3 main points to discuss quickly in under a minute. First, a low risk, high reward. According to Bleacher Report, maybe he mixed it up a little bit. This is a projection, right? The Spurs could be asking for different pieces. The Miami Heat could be asking for someone in addition to Aldridge. But according to Bleacher Report, the hypothetical trade was the Spurs receiving Iguodala and Kelly Olynyk. So instead of Myers Leonard, Iguodala. And then the Heat receiving LaMarcus Aldridge. So that's definitely low risk, high reward. Second point I was going to discuss, perfect offensive fit alongside Bam Adebayo. You have Bam Adebayo and LaMarcus Aldridge besides each other. You're not going to have opposing teams score that many points in the paint. And then the third point I wanted to discuss is playoff experience. Playoff experience matters, and especially for a Heat team that's going to make the playoffs. That's key. Obviously, Aldridge, an NBA veteran on the Spurs, a team that's made the playoffs for many years. LaMarcus Aldridge has played against the Heat in the playoffs. But really the main point, low risk, high reward. Nice. If that's the case, Olynyk and Iguodala for Aldridge, Olynyk kind of replaces Aldridge for the Spurs, and for the Heat, Aldridge replaces Olynyk. So it's kind of, a switch, a switch. And Iguodala is another veteran, getting older. But, I think either way, if this trade happens, I feel like there's no way the Spurs win the trade, no matter what team Aldridge goes to. But I do think the Heat are one of the front runners to get and land Aldridge. We'll see how it goes. NBA trade deadline coming up.
March 25th. It's always a fun time of year. Generally, what we hear is exactly what doesn't happen. That's just the way it works. The rumors are always louder than the actual trades. We'll see how it plays out. This has been NBA Week in Review. We meet every Saturday at 8 o'clock Pacific. We might make some changes. We're certainly going to keep this format. I like it. We want to end with the highlight of the week, but we don't have it ready this week, so we'll try and do that next week. We made the point, I was telling the guys before, this is the worst show we're going to do. We're going to get better from here on out, and I'm excited to be on that ride with each of y'all. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Isaac. We'll talk again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.